Chapter 2, Park Life. If the sun has got his hat on, Bad Nana is always taking us to the park. I think this is because it is free and isn't the television. Bad Nana always goes straight to her bench, as she says her sitting on the grass days are long gone. She can't remember sitting on the floor at all after the millennium, but I don't think the two things are even slightly linked. Sometimes someone else is sitting on her bench, but this isn't a problem, as Bad Nana just walks over, points to the plaque on the bench that says, "In loving memory of Bill," and wobbles her bottom lip until whoever is sitting there moves. Sometimes she makes me and Jack stand behind her and looks there just to be sure. I asked Bad Nana if she actually knew Bill. She just said that wasn't the point, and anyhow she always gave Bill's plaque a quick polish with her spare hanky whenever she sat there, and would I like a lemon sherbet? Turned out I would, so that was the end of that. Once we visited just after the new park keeper started keeping the park. Bad Nana was good friends with the old park keeper, Frank, but he had to move to the seaside to be near his grandchildren. Jack pointed out that Bad Nana was really lucky as she didn't have to move because she nearly always had her grandchildren with her almost all the time. Bad Nana said, in a funny way, which I think meant she feels very lucky to have me almost all the time, but would rather have Jack almost none of the time. Anyway, we were all super excited as we thought the new park keeper might make some really good changes to the park, like roller coasters, ice cream vans, and even a swimming pool. It turned out he had made billions of changes, but none of them was a good one. Each change was a new rule, and he had put them on signs all over the place. There were so many new rules that it made you feel fidgety because you would probably accidentally break a rule, and then who knows what would happen. Everyone in the park seemed really miserable, which I don't think is the point of a park at all. I felt practically certain that this would give Bad Nana the pip, because if there is one thing Bad Nana is not keen on, it's silly, fun-stopping rules. Bad Nana likes nearly everyone to have fun. That's one of my favourite things about her. I could see her getting crosser as she looked about at everyone being all miserable and in such a lovely park too. Then Bad Nana popped in a lemon sherbet, sat on her/Bill's bench, and had a think. This made me excited and nervous all at once. As soon as Bad Nana had crunched the last of her lemon sherbet, she sprang into action. Well, maybe it was more of a shuffle, but she definitely meant business. After a jolly good rummage in her humongous handbag, she told me and Jack to keep our eyes out for the scary park keeper while she set about cheering the place up a bit. I had no idea what this meant and wasn't at all sure how Bad Nana's lippy was going to help, but I did know that it had given me a funny wriggly feeling in my tummy, and it was not an entirely good feeling. It turned out my tummy was spot on, as Bad Nana's cheering the place up a bit actually meant crossing out all the knots on the park signs. Jack and I got quite a bit nervous keeping our eyes out, and we were both rather relieved when Bad Nana had finished. Bad Nana was especially pleased with her work and felt all the new park signs were much more encouraging and generally positive. Everyone else seemed to think so too, and got back to having lots of fun, surprisingly quickly. The park really was very cheered up indeed. We stopped for a bit of a breather after all our rule breaking, keeping our eyes out, which I was very pleased about as I found being a bit naughty quite exhausting. I have no idea how Bad Nana manages so much mischief at her age. Our celebrations didn't last long though, as apparently the park keeper did not want the park cheered up at all. In fact, any sort of cheeriness or fun quite clearly made him very cross indeed. He was so cross, even his eyes seemed to cross. I honestly think I saw smoke coming out of his ears. He shouted at everyone having fun in the fountain. He boomed at all the people enjoying the grass. He yelled at everyone getting along with the ducks. And he screamed at an old lady who was just sniffing a rose. All the fun stopped super double quick fast, which I thought was a real shame. I'm sure Jack would have thought so too if he had a brain. Bad Nana's pip came back and she started making rather loud, grumpy, humphy noises until she popped in another lemon sherbet for a think. The park keeper was stomping about the place. checking that there was no one still having any sort of fun at all, and was stomping up the path towards us with his chest all puffed out like a pigeon in uniform. Just before he got to the bench, I heard the crunch of a lemon sherbet and a quiet little cackle from Bad Nana. And then I saw a lemon sherbet wrapper float to the ground. It landed on the path in front of us. I was completely shocked, as one of Bad Nana's top 10 things of importance, they are not rules, more like firm suggestions, is don't drop litter. But she had just gone and dropped actual litter, and in front of a furious pigeony park keeper. He stomped to a halt just before the littering sweet wrapper, and his eyes narrowed as he glared at it, and then back at Bad Nana, and then back at the wrapper. It was extremely tense. So tense, Jack and I might have accidentally held hands. It honestly felt like the whole park was holding its breath. I had no idea how Bad Nana was going to wriggle out of this one. Bad Nana looked up and I could see her. She was giving the park keeper the big eyes and the wiggly old lady smile. I've seen her use these before in particularly tricky situations. They only properly work when people don't actually know what she's really like. She then leant forward as if she was trying to pick up the wrapper, and made a little noise I've never heard her make before, like a or something. By now, all eyes were on the park keeper, and he knew it. He couldn't make this little old lady, who seemed to be sort of stuck on a park bench, pick up her sweet wrapper, not with everyone watching, and not with her looking so sweet and everything, could he? In a way that somehow made it crystal clear he did not really want to, the park keeper bent down to pick the wrapper up. And quick as a flash, Bad Nana ducked behind a massive handbag and made the loudest, squelchiest, longest, fartiest raspberry noise ever. The park keeper straightened up super duper fast, and his face immediately went bright red. He started flapping about all over the place and saying over and over, "It wasn't me, it was the old lady." But Bad Nana was very busy looking extremely sweet and a bit vague, so no one believed him for a second. Or maybe they just didn't want to believe him on account of him being such a fun-stopping stinker all day. So the whole park was now laughing, and that seemed to make the park keeper redder and redder, and I thought he was actually going to pop, but he didn't. Instead he did a funny little bunny hop, I don't know why, and then ran all the way to his shed and shut the door and stayed there for the rest of the afternoon. So we all got to enjoy the park again, and everyone left it as they found it, and it very definitely put all their rubbish in the bin. Bad Nana saw to that.